Welcome back to Us Mint Mysteries, the channel where we uncover the shocking secrets and unbelievable values hiding in plain sight inside everyday pocket change. Tonight, we're diving deep into 5 ultra-rare US 1-cent coins that could be worth an absolute fortune. These aren't just pennies, my friends, they are treasures that could turn a handful of copper into life-changing money. Some of these coins, in the right condition, have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and one of them, believe it or not, can even push into the $500,000 range. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video you might just look at your change jar with brand new eyes. And before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you never miss another hidden fortune in your pocket. Change. The first coin on our list takes us back to 1962, a year when John F. Kennedy was in the White House, the Cuban Missile Crisis was on the horizon, and millions of Americans were still carrying copper Lincoln cents in their pockets. Now, at first glance, a 1962 penny might look ordinary, especially if you find one with a darker shade, like this fine condition black-toned example. But here's where things get truly shocking. While most of these pennies were struck by the billions, certain survivors can be worth small fortunes. Let's start with the basics. In 1962, the U.S. Mint produced over 2.8 billion of these Lincoln cents, both in Philadelphia and Denver. They were made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them a rich reddish color when fresh. Over time, many of them darkened, and today you'll often see them with a deep brown or even black shade, like the one we're showing here. Most people overlook that dark tone, but collectors pay close attention, because toning can sometimes point to originality, a sign the coin hasn't been cleaned or damaged. Now here's the wow factor. While a worn, circulated 1962 penny like this might only trade for a few cents in everyday shops, certain conditions can send values skyrocketing. A standard uncirculated red example can easily bring in $15 to $30. But take that same coin in blazing gem red, untouched since the day it left the mint, and certified at the highest grades by PCGs or NGC. Suddenly, you're looking at hundreds of dollars. And if you're lucky enough to stumble across a rare double die error or an off-center strike from 1962, you might just be staring at a piece worth over 10,000. But here's the shocking part: the most prized examples, those flawless, nearly perfect, full red 1962 cents, have crossed into the 5-figure range at major auctions. That's right, what looks like a common penny in your hand could transform into a $25,000 or even a $40,000 collector's prize under the right circumstances. Imagine finding that in a forgotten jar of change. And when you consider certain ultra-rare error strikes like transitional planchet mistakes, off-metal strikes, or misaligned dies, those outliers have been documented bringing staggering amounts, even approaching the $100,000 mark. So, how do you know if your 1962 penny is worth a second look? Start by checking the color. Is it bright red, red-brown, or blackened? Collectors always prize the red tones the most, but unusual shades like deep black can still attract interest if the coin is problem-free. Next, look closely for mint errors, doubling on the date, extra thickness on "In God We Trust," or misaligned lettering. Those details separate pocket change from a jackpot. And finally, condition is king. A 1962 penny in fine condition like this black shaded beauty might not break records on its own, but it reminds us of what could be hiding out there, and how the right survivor can absolutely change someone's life. It's almost unbelievable to think about, but yes, this single copper cent has the power to be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands, depending on condition and rarity. That's the thrill of coin collecting: ordinary change, hiding extraordinary value. And remember, we're just getting started. Next up, we'll travel to another year, another story, and another penny that might just blow your mind even more than this one. Next up, we jump forward more than 2 decades, to the year 1988. Ronald Reagan was finishing his second term as president. Gas was under $1 a gallon, and in Denver, the U.S. Mint was striking hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. At first glance, the 1988D penny looks completely ordinary. You've seen it. I've seen it, just another brown coin resting at the bottom of a coffee can. But hold on, because this little cent hides one of the most jaw-dropping secrets in all of modern US coinage. The coin we're showing here is in fine condition, showing the usual wear you'd expect after decades of circulation. Nothing flashy. But collectors know to look deeper, because 1988 isn't just another year, it's the year of one of the most shocking Lincoln cent discoveries ever made. I'm talking about the legendary 1988D reverse of 1989 Variety. Here's the story. In 1989, the mint slightly changed the design of the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Most people never noticed, but coin experts did. And somehow, by mistake, a small number of 1988 Denver cents were struck using the brand new 1989 reverse die. That means a 1988D penny could actually carry the wrong reverse design, a blunder that went unnoticed for years until collectors uncovered it. Now, this is where your jaw should drop. A regular circulated 1988D penny, worth just 1 cent. Even in uncirculated condition, you're usually talking about 25 to 50 cents at best. But if you spot that reverse of 1989 error, suddenly, you're holding a treasure that can bring in thousands. One certified mint state example of the 1988D reverse of 1989 penny has sold for over $3,000. Another example in pristine gem red crossed the $10,000 mark at auction. And whispers in the hobby suggest that the rarest top-graded survivors, still blazing with their original mint luster, could stretch far higher, potentially reaching into the six-figure territory if the right collector steps in. That's right, from a single cent to $100,000 or more, just because of a tiny design difference that almost no one ever noticed. Think about that for a second. A coin like this one, worn down to fine condition, might not bring that kind of staggering figure, but it serves as a reminder that 1988D cents demand close inspection. Because if the reverse is the wrong one, you've hit the jackpot. And it proves once again that history and value often hide in the smallest details. So what should you look for? Flip that 1988D penny over and study the reverse closely. Focus on the designer's initials, FG, is to the Lincoln Memorial. On the normal 1988 reverse, the initials are spaced and shaped differently than on the 1989 reverse. The difference is subtle, but once you see it, you'll never forget it. That tiny design change separates pocket change from treasure chest. Imagine finding one of these in your old jars of pennies. It's not just thrilling, it's almost unbelievable. A single mistake at the Denver Mint created one of the most desirable modern cents ever discovered. And the values continue to shock collectors to this day. So while most 1988D pennies in fine condition, like this one, won't fetch more than face value, the possibility of discovering a reverse of 1989 Variety keeps collectors hunting. And who knows? The next time you roll your spare change, you just might stumble across the coin that changes everything. And before we move on, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another chance to discover hidden treasures in your own collection. Because trust me, the next coin on our list only gets more shocking. Moving on, our next stop takes us to the late 1970s. The year 1978. America was in the middle of disco fever. The very first Superman movie was about to hit theaters, and in Denver, the Mint was producing yet another flood of Lincoln cents. The 1978D penny may seem ordinary, just another worn copper coin, like the fine condition example we're showing here. But as always in coin collecting, what seems common at first glance can hide some shocking surprises. To set the stage, more than 4.3 billion of these coins were struck at the Denver Mint alone. Each one made of the classic 95% copper alloy that collectors prize today. And while billions were released, time has taken its toll. Most are worn, scratched, or discolored. A fine condition example like this one doesn't look rare at all. But the truth is, when you find a survivor in pristine condition, or with a dramatic mint error, the story changes dramatically. Let's talk value. A typical 1978D penny in circulation, even if it looks nice, will usually fetch only a cent or two. In higher grades, though, things start to get interesting. A bright red uncirculated example can bring $10, $20, sometimes even $50, depending on the grade. But when you move into gem condition, with blazing luster and perfect strike, the value jumps higher. Certified Ms. 67 red examples have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. That's already surprising enough. But here comes the real wow factor. One of the most incredible discoveries tied to the 1978D cent is the rare off-metal and double strike errors. Imagine a penny struck on the wrong planchet like a dime's metal, or even a foreign coin blank. These are the kinds of dramatic mistakes that send collectors into bidding frenzies. Certain 1978D error cents have brought jaw-dropping figures, stretching into the tens of thousands of dollars. There's even talk of unique pieces fetching upward of $75,000 to $100,000 when they combine a dramatic error with top-grade condition. That's the kind of money that turns a penny into a life-changing treasure. So, how can you tell if your 1978D might be special? First, examine the surfaces closely. Does it have that deep, original red shine? If so, you may already be sitting on something worth grading. Next, flip the coin around and study it for doubling on the date, on Liberty, or even on Lincoln's profile. Those doubled dies are the hidden jackpots that collectors dream of finding. And finally, always keep your eyes open for missed strikes, clipped planchets, or off-center errors. Even a slightly off-center strike can push a penny's value from pocket change into hundreds of dollars or more. The beauty of the 1978D cent is that it bridges an era. It was one of the last years before the mint made drastic changes to the penny's composition in 1982, when copper was abandoned for a cheaper zinc core. That makes every pre-1982 copper penny feel more historic, more substantial, and more collectible. And when one of those survivors carries an error or top-notch condition, the payoff can be staggering. Think about it. Billions were struck. Yet the hunt for that one flawless gem or dramatic mint error keeps collectors searching year after year. And while a fine condition piece like this one may seem humble, it reminds us that the next coin you pull from an old jar or bankroll could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands. So, yes, the 1978D penny might not stop you in your tracks at first sight, but hidden among them are some of the most shocking and valuable finds in modern coin collecting. And that's why collectors never overlook even the most ordinary-looking cents. Now, buckle up, because the fourth coin on our list raises the stakes even higher. And I promise the value we're about to uncover is going to leave you in disbelief. Now, let's roll back just a few years earlier, to 1975. The United States was celebrating its bicentennial spirit. The Vietnam War had just come to an end, and across Denver, the mint was busy striking over 4.5 billion Lincoln cents. At first glance, a 1975D penny, especially one in worn condition, like the no-fine example we have here, seems like the last coin anyone would stop and stare at. But looks can be deceiving, because buried within this ordinary-looking cent is a story of rarity, errors, and shocking value. The 1975D is often overlooked because of its massive mintage. Billions were made, billions circulated, and most ended up just like this, darkened, worn, and forgotten in drawers. A regular circulated example isn't going to turn heads, and even in uncirculated condition, values are modest at first. A bright red uncirculated coin might sell for $10 to $20. In higher certified grades, maybe $50 to $100. But what makes the 1975D so thrilling is what lies beneath the surface. Because hidden gems of this date have exploded into the six-figure range, here's where it gets fascinating. Collectors have long hunted for rare double die obverses on the 1975D. Especially doubling on Liberty and the date. Even minor doubling can bring serious premiums. But the real showstoppers are the wild mint errors, off-center strikes, double strikes, and even transitional planchet mistakes. Imagine holding a penny struck on the wrong metal, like a foreign coin blank, or a coin struck twice, with Lincoln's portrait ghosted across the surface. These aren't science fiction, they exist, and they command staggering values. In fact, Some of the most dramatic 1975D mint errors have sold for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. One-off metal strike shocked collectors by hammering at over 50,000, and experts believe that in pristine mint state, with the right error combination, a 1975D penny could push even higher into the $100,000 to $150,000 range. Think about that. A coin you'd walk past every day, maybe even toss aside, suddenly worth more than a brand new luxury car. Now, let's talk about condition. The coin we're looking at here is worn, showing no fine details left. Most collectors would dismiss it as ordinary, but even heavily worn examples can hold secrets. If this very coin showed evidence of a rare error even in circulated condition, it could be worth thousands. That's the thrill and the danger of ignoring pocket change. Sometimes the biggest treasures hide in the most unimpressive shells. And here's another shocker. Some experts have suggested that undiscovered double die varieties for 1975D may still exist out there, waiting for someone to find them. With billions struck, it's almost certain that more rare die combinations slipped through the cracks, which means that even the most worn, beat-up 1975D could become historic if it carries the right hidden doubling. This is why collectors, especially those who've been searching for decades, never underestimate a coin like this. It may look worthless to the untrained eye, but in the world of numismatics, ordinary is often a mask for extraordinary. And that's exactly why the 1975D deserves a place on this list. We've now seen 4 shocking pennies, each with their own story of hidden fortune. But the fifth and final coin on our journey tonight is the one that truly takes the crown. A Lincoln cent so rare, so valuable, and so staggering in its potential worth that it could leave you speechless. And now, we come to the fifth and final coin in tonight's journey, the legendary 1974D Lincoln cent. At first glance, this coin in fine condition looks just like the billions of others minted that year. Worn surfaces, a brown tone, nothing that screams treasure. But make no mistake, this is the penny that carries one of the most shocking secrets in all of U.S. coin collecting history. The year was 1974. The nation was caught up in political scandal, inflation was rising, and the price of copper was skyrocketing. The mint faced a serious problem. Making billions of copper cents was getting too expensive. So in 1974, they began experimenting with alternatives. Most notably, the mint struck a small number of experimental Lincoln cents in aluminum instead of copper. About 1.5 million were planned, but almost all were destroyed before release. Yet a handful escaped the mint, and those survivors are among the most valuable pennies ever known. Now here's where the 1974D gets its legendary status. Denver struck a test run of these aluminum cents, but official records say every single one was destroyed. Still, whispers in the hobby and decades of rumors suggest that at least 1 or 2 1974D aluminum cents survived. Imagine that. A coin so rare that most collectors have never even seen one, yet its very existence fuels some of the greatest treasure hunts in modern numismatics. If a genuine 1974D aluminum cent were ever confirmed and sold publicly, the price could be staggering. Experts believe it could easily shatter the $500,000 mark, with some estimates soaring to $2 million or more. That's right, a single penny, struck in Denver in 1974, could be worth more than most people's homes. But even among regular copper 1974D cents, there are surprises. In uncirculated red condition, collectors pay strong premiums, $20, $50, even $100 for top-graded examples. But when you enter gem mint state, Ms. 67 or higher, the story changes. Some have sold for thousands, and rare double die obverses or dramatic errors have pulled in $10,000 to $30,000. And while the coin we have here is in fine condition, just imagine if this very penny had been one of those elusive aluminum strikes. We'd be looking at one of the most valuable modern coins in the entire world. So, how do you identify a potentially valuable 1974D? Start by checking the metal. Is it copper or something lighter, like aluminum? Any penny that feels unusually Light deserves immediate attention. Next, search for errors, doubling, off-center strikes, or anything unusual in the lettering or portrait. And finally, condition. Even a copper 1974D in blazing red mint state can bring surprising money today. The shocking truth is this: tucked inside the history of the 1974D Lincoln cent lies the possibility of $1 million discovery. That's what keeps collectors searching jars, boxes, and rolls with eager eyes. Because someday, one of those legendary aluminum cents might surface, and the lucky finder will hold not just a coin, but a piece of numismatic history worth a fortune. And there you have it. 5 US 1-cent coins that prove treasure can still be hiding in plain sight. From a humble 1962 copper penny to the jaw-dropping mystery of the 1974D, these coins remind us why the hunt never ends. They look ordinary, but each one carries the potential to shock, surprise, and in some cases, change a life forever. So the next time you reach into your pocket or open that dusty jar of change, take a second look. You might just be holding a fortune without even knowing it. And if you enjoyed this journey through rare and valuable cents, don't forget to subscribe to us Mint Mysteries, where every coin tells a story, and every story could reveal the next big discovery.